What's up creators, I hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to show you 4 ways you can convert your log footage in DaVinci Resolve. Now, if you're not familiar with log footage or log video, what it is a gamma curve, a way that your camera is capturing video, and it has a very specific look, which is this one. As you can see, our video has very little contrast and very little saturation. It looks terrible. So why would you want to shoot in this format? Well, there are 2 main reasons. The first one is that log video is very flexible, allows us to apply very heavy color grading edits without the image falling apart. Now, it's not as flexible as raw video, but most cameras don't have raw video except the high-end, very expensive ones or the cine cameras. The next best thing is log video. So as you can see in this clip over here, if I push around the exposure in the highlights, you can see that the image is very well preserved. It's not starting to lose some detail or lose some information. We're not starting to see any artifacts appear. And the same thing applies with the black areas. Also, in terms of saturation, if I push the saturation up, let me just go in here in saturation and then go into any of the curves. If I push the saturation, notice that the curves are still very well preserved, even though I'm pushing the oversaturation. We're not seeing any dead pixels or any pixel binning or anything like that. It's looking very nice. Now, the second reason for shooting log is to obtain the most amount of information, detail, or otherwise known as dynamic range or latitude of exposure out of your sensor. So by shooting in the native ISO of your camera and in log video, you can get the most amount of information out of your camera. So log video, what it's doing is pushing our blacks and our shadows up in the exposure, so we don't have any pure blacks in our image, and therefore we don't have any underexposure. Underexposure is any part of the image where it's so dark that we don't have any information. And it's doing the same thing in the highlights and whites. It's pulling them back down so they're not pure whites and we don't have any overexposure. Same thing applies with the colors and saturation. By reducing the saturation, it's easier for us in post-edition to differentiate between one hue and another. So by shooting log footage, you can achieve the most amount of information out of your video. So what is the downside? That log footage always requires conversion. It always requires you to add more contrast and saturation so it looks normal. So that's exactly what we're going to do right now. So let's go in with the first method, which is the easiest one, the quickest one, which is using conversion LUTs. So here I am in DaVinci Resolve in the color module, and up here we have a panel called LUTs. Let's select it. And down here by default, DaVinci Resolve has some conversion LUTs for different camera brands. So I have conversion LUTs for DJI, for if you're shooting in D-Log over here, Panasonic, Fujifilm, and for Sony, this video was shot in Sony. Right here have some conversion LUTs for S-Log3. Now it doesn't have the biggest library over here, but it does have some are better than none. So for example, this clip I showed it in S-Log3, Gamut3.cine in the color profile. So I'm just going to double tap it and bam, our video has been converted. Now, if you go to the official website of your camera brand, you may also find some conversion LUTs over there, completely free, that you can download and apply into your videos. Now, the main gripe that I have with these conversion LUTs that come in as default for DaVinci Resolve and the ones that I found in the Sony official website is that the skin tones are not quite there. Notice how the skin tones are a bit pale. They're not very rich. We don't see any of the reds creeping up. And that's why I created my utility LUT pack over here, which is the ones that I normally use. And as you can see, there's a lot more variation over here because I included versions for S-Log2, for S-Log3, for 10-bit or 8-bit in the color depth, and also for the picture profile that you used, be it S-Gamut3.cine, S-Gamut3, or S-Cinetone. Here I have all the variations. So I'm going to select the one that I used for recording this one, which is S-Gamut3.cine in S-Log3 and 10-bit, and pay attention to the skin tones, how they shift just a bit. And they're a bit more rich. Here we have a bit more magentas, a bit more reds creeping up, and also the contrast is corrected with my personal touch. So this is before, this is the default one that comes in DaVinci Resolve, and after, and this is just a slight personal touch for my conversion LUTs. So as you can see, the conversion LUTs work within a node. If I deactivate this node, the conversion is gone. Now, my recommendation is that you always place your conversion LUT in the last node towards the right before your export. Before, you're going to do all your color grading, all your contrast, all your effects, and the conversion is at the end. Why? Because you want to apply your color correction, your creative assets before, when your video is looking like this, where it has the highest dynamic range, not after it's being converted into Rec 709, which is what this conversion LUT is doing. Just a reminder, place your conversion LUT all the way to the end. Now, the second method seems a bit more complicated, but it's very powerful, which is color management. Now, I already made a specific video about color management, so I'm not going to go too into detail, but color management doesn't work within a node. It works in the project settings. So I'm just going to boot it up over here. Now, the main advantages about color management is that it converts your entire timeline. You don't have to go clip by clip converting your videos. In this case, you're just going to move some settings and your entire timeline is going to be converted. Now, another advantage is that it does not work within the nodes. So it's freeing up space for you to edit and it's working beneath your color grading. So let's go into color management over here. Select in color science, DaVinci Resolve YRGB color managed. Down here, I'm gonna unmark automatic color management, and in color processing mode, I'm gonna go into custom. Now, right here, there's a lot of things that we can move, but we're just gonna move 3 main sliders. So the first one is input color space. Right here, we're gonna tell DaVinci Resolve what type of video is the one that I'm editing or the one that I'm using in my timeline. So I'm using S-Log3, it's Gamut 3.cine. I'm gonna select it. If you're using Canon C-Log, select it. If you're using F-Log, select it. So I'm gonna tell DaVinci Resolve that my videos are in S-Log3 as Gamut 3.cine. Then I'm gonna go to output color space. So here I'm gonna tell DaVinci Resolve that my log footage, I want to convert it into a specific color space. And right here, I'm gonna select Rec 09 Gamma 2.4. Now Rec 09 is a great bet if you don't know which color space to select, because Rec 09 is the color space which most of social media, most of TV, most of your screens are calibrated towards. So it's going to be a great bet to select Rec 09 Gamma 2.4 if you're on Windows, and if you're on Mac, just select Rec 09A. Rec 09A just compensates a little shift that the GPU of Mac does into your colors and into your contrast. So I'm on Mac, I'm going to select Rec 09A. If you're on Windows, Gamma 2.4. Then in timeline color space, I'm going to select the same one that I selected in output, Rec 09A, just to make sure that I'm working with the same colors that I'm going to see when I export. And then if I select save, notice what happens to my clip. It's converted. Automatically, it converts all the clips on my timeline. It doesn't only work for this one. Notice how if I add more clips over here, this is a video of my dog Lupita. Look at those eyes. She's looking at the ball. It's also converted. This video of our unboxing is also in log footage. It's also converted. So this is how it looked before and after. So color management is a great tool, in particular if your entire timeline is shot with the same log format. It does become a bit more tedious if you have some clips from other camera brands or other log formats, but in general, it's a very useful and powerful tool. Okay, the third method is very similar to color management, which is color space transform. Now, color space transform is very similar to color management. The only difference is that it works within nodes in your node tree. So I'm going to go to the effects. Then I'm going to scroll down into Resolve FX Color, and here I have Color Space Transform. If you're having issues finding it, just go into the refiner over here and type in Color Space Transform, and then I'm going to drag it into my node. Now right here, it's very obvious that it's very similar to color management, input gamma and input color space. Here you can tell DaVinci Resolve what type of clip this one is, which log format you used for this one, and the output color space and output gamma is going to be the final results. So again, input gamma for me is going to be S-Log3. The input color space and the one that I use is Gamut 3.cine, and then the output is going to be the same that we selected in color management, which is going to be Rec 09, and the output gamma, because I'm on Mac, Rec 09A. Bam. Right here, this little node is converting our log video, and just like we did with the LUTs, this conversion node that we have over here, we're going to place it all the way to the right, just before our export, and our color grading goes before it. Now we can also use color space transform to create a very heavy, a very intense way of editing, and that's creating a wider color space within our edit. Now what I mean by this, if I have a color space transform over here, and then if I create another color space transform over here and I place one at the end just before our export and one at the start where my import is, I can basically dictate what color space I'm using in the middle to color grade my video and to apply all my edits. So I already went into detail when I'm creating the Supreme node tree. If you want to check out that video, the link is going to be up here. But what you're going to do is basically jug a color space transform into both of these nodes. In the first one, you're going to tell DaVinci Resolve what type of video this is. So this video is in S-Log3, is Gamut 3.cine, but instead of converting it into Rec 09, I'm going to select DaVinci Resolve Wide Gamut, and the output gamma is going to be DaVinci Resolve Intermediate. So this color space that I selected over here, DaVinci Resolve White Gamut, is a very big color space where you can play around a lot with the colors and you have a lot of flexibility for color grading. So right here, what I'm doing is changing this clip from S-Log3 into DaVinci Resolve White Gamut. And over here, the input color space is going to be the output from this one, which is going to be DaVinci Resolve White Gamut. And now in this one, the output is going to be Rec 709. And right here, our video is now converted. It looks exactly the same as the one that we applied only one color space transform. The main difference right here is that this space that we have in between, that we can basically just clog it up with all the nodes that we want. Everything in the middle of these two nodes is in a very broad color space. This broad color space allows us to create very heavy edits, pushing the boundaries in terms of color, in terms of exposure and contrast, and we're not going to have any loss of information. So this is the main reason that most of the tutorials that you're going to see on YouTube have two color space transforms, one at the left, one at the right at the borders. So in the middle, you have a very big playground to create the most heavy or more contrasted edits. Yeah, so a bit complicated. Now, the last method is not that complicated, but it does require a bit of practice, which is the manual mode, to convert your log footage using the tools that we have at our disposal in DaVinci Resolve. So right here, we have loads of tools, for example, the HDR wheels, we have the color wheels, the log color wheels, the bars, we also have tone curve, we also have all the other tools to edit the colors. So converting your log footage in a manual manner is becoming a bit more outdated, in particular because the three methods that I showed you before are very efficient and very quick. But there are some scenarios where you do have to use the manual method. And in particular, for just as an example, these two, the drones that I have over here, the Avata and also my Mavic Air, do not shoot log video, but they do shoot flat picture profiles, which are similar to log videos or log formats, but they're not quite there. So you're not going to find specific conversion LUTs. You're not going to see any option for these flat picture profiles in color management or color space transform. So you do need to convert them manually. So let's convert this clip using manual methods. Now, the main thing that you have to remember is that you need to basically help yourself with the scopes. The waveform over here will tell us the exposure and contrast. Then we have our parade. This one will allow us to balance out our white balance. And over here, our vector scope will allow us to determine if our skin tones or our saturation are correct. So let's go into our waveform over here. And as you can see, this is a graphical representation of our image of the exposure and contrast. Notice how over here, this bright spot is this light. Then we have these very bright spots, very white bright spots, which are these little gaps between the lenses of the light in the background. What the waveform is telling me right now is that our exposure is very condensed, therefore very flat. So what we need to do is expand this, because right here, these whites are not at the top, so we don't have any pure whites, and these blacks are not at the bottom, so they're not pure blacks. So what I'm gonna do first of all is drag this point in the tone curve that controls the blacks. By the way, you can use the tone curve, you can use the HDR wheels or the global color wheels. I'm gonna drag it towards the right until something that I know that it's pure black in the image, like my seat over here or this camera, something over here is touching the zero, which is the pure blacks. So I'm just going to drag it all the way down around there. You can also base your edit around the histogram that we have over here. Right here we have some pure blacks and something is touching the zero. Now let's go to the other extreme. We want these points over here, these bright areas, to reach the pure white. So I'm going to go all the way up until they reach the top line over here. And now we have pure white on our image. And immediately you can notice how our waveform is a lot bigger. We're expanding the exposure and contrast on our image. Now, the other thing that I'm looking right here is that this image has pure whites, yes, pure blacks, but in the middle we have a very flat looking image. So let's apply some contrast. So I'm going to create a point over here in the shadows. I'm going to drag it a bit down just to lower the shadows just a bit to add more contrast. Not too much, otherwise this is terrible, but enough so we're having a bit more natural contrast in our image, something around these values. And then I'm going to do the same with highlights because we're losing a bit of intensity over here. So I'm going to create a point over here and drag it towards the positives. Yeah, something around these values. I'm quite happy with this. And now notice the difference. Now notice how our waveform is a lot bigger, it's a lot wider. If I deactivate this node, this is before a very condensed exposure, very condensed waveform, and now it's very broad, bigger, having a lot of contrast and also retaining a lot of detail. Okay, so that's the first step into converting manually. Correct the exposure and contrast. Now let me just rename this node because we are going to create a couple of nodes. So this is going to be contrast. So I'm going to create another node after this one. So Option S if you're on Mac to create a node right after the one that you're selecting. Alt S if you're on Windows. And this one, I'm going to rename it, here I am, saturation. So in this one, I'm going to return the saturation of my clip. So I'm going to go into the color wheels over here. And right here, I'm just going to push the saturation up, not too much, this is way too much, but ever so slightly. So here in the vector scope, right here, we have a graphical representation of our colors. And this is just this little blob over here of light. So I'm just going to push the saturation up. And these are the colors that we have in the image. Notice that we have a bit of blue over here, which is the blue coming out from the light. We have loads of oranges and reds for my skin tones, for the lights in the background, and my shirt. So right here, this line that we have over here, this gray line, is the flesh line or the reference for the skin tones. If you don't see it, go into your options over here and mark show skin tone indicator and it's going to appear. So right here we have a lot of saturation and I'm going to reduce it just a bit. Around 65 is going to be a good value. And it all depends on your log format and your in-camera settings. I have it at 65 and I can basically just corroborate because I have the same situation over here. I can see that the light in the video is the same hue and the same saturation as the light over here. And if you don't have a reference image, just play around and see which value is correct. Don't go too low so your image is desaturated. Don't go too high where it's oversaturated. So right here, our video is basically looking great. This looks very similar to the conversion LUT from DaVinci Resolve. Now I'm just going to accentuate a bit of the skin tone. So I'm going to create another node right after, and this is going to be the skin tones. Now for the skin tones, I'm going to go into, well, we can use several tools. We can use over here the tone curves, but I'm going to go into the color warper. So right here in the color warper, just I'm going to make it a bit bigger. If I put my mouse over my skin tones, I can see which nodes control the skin tones. So as you can see over here, these two nodes control my light skin tones, and in the other side, well, it's basically the same node. So it's these two nodes over here, this one and this one, control the skin tones. So right here we also have our flesh line, which is indicating that our skin tones are very accurate. So I'm going to push it ever so slightly so it's above or basically in the line over here. And if I want to add more saturation to these 2 points, I'm just going to push them towards the borders to add more saturation into the oranges. Now this is a bit too much. Notice how it's appearing a lot of orange over here and over here. This is a bit too much. So I'm just going to return a bit of saturation, not too much, but just a bit, just push it out also slightly, something around these values. And now I've converted my skin tones. Now, if I wanted my skin tones to be a bit more towards the reddish magenta side, I can push these tones a bit more towards the right, more towards the magentas and reddish instead of towards the greens. And yeah, now we have richer skin tones with a bit more orange, a bit more red appearing. Yeah, so this is the before and after, this is before and after, and it's a very subtle change, but our skin tones are looking a bit more natural. So this is basically how you convert your log footage in the manual mode. You need to use the tools from DaVinci Resolve in conjunction, always based around your edit, around the scopes over here, the waveform, the vector scope, and the parade. We didn't use it right here because the parade, it only allows us to convert or correct our video if the white balancing was off. So right here, this video is, the white balance is correct because I did it on field before I shot the video. But let's say that you had a bit of an imbalance between these three graphs. If one was lower or higher than the other, you will need to balance them out so they have a similar shape. So this is basically how you correct the white balance in manual modes. You can also use basically the auto white balance that you have over here at your disposal. If I can find it, here it is over here, white balance. You can go ahead and select something that you know that is white or neutral, like here. And as you can see, it shifted a bit of the blue and a bit of the green, just lowering them just a bit to compensate a bit of the orange extra that we have in our image. But this is a way that I would white balance. You can also do it manually by shifting a bit of the red channels in each of these, in the midtones, highlight, shadows, or in the offset. But that's a whole nother video.